Racist woman tore the dress thinking she was just a black waitress. Her millionaire husband saw. "You there, stop. That's not your seat." The voice sliced through the soft jazz and laughter filling the grand ballroom. Maya Johnson froze mid-step, her hand still resting on the back of the velvet chair. Around her, the Whitmore Foundation charity gala sparkled like a golden dream. Crystal chandeliers, polished marble floors, and rows of people dripping in diamonds and ego. The woman who called out stood a few tables away, blonde, elegant, and arrogant, her designer gown gleaming like a trophy. Her name was Victoria Langford, and she was known for two things: her husband's fortune and her cruelty. Maya turned slowly, her sapphire dress glinting beneath the light. "I beg your pardon," she said, her voice calm but firm. Victoria's eyes swept over her, from Maya's braided bun down to the simple heel. A smirk tugged at her lip. "You heard me. Staff shouldn't be sitting with guests. The servers section is in the back, sweetheart." A few people nearby chuckled quietly. One even whispered, "Who invited her?" Maya's chest tightened, but she stood tall. "I think you made a mistake." Victoria's painted smile didn't fade. "I don't think so. This gala is for donors, not—" She waved her diamond-covered hand dismissively. "Help?" Maya's eyes flicked briefly toward the head table where her husband, Alexander Langford, was speaking with a few investors. He hadn't noticed yet. She could have said his name, ended this humiliation in seconds, but she didn't. She wanted to see how far Victoria would go. "Ma'am," Maya said softly, "you should be careful with assumptions. They often age badly." Victoria's smile curdled. "Is that supposed to be a threat?" "It's advice," Maya replied. Laughter rippled through the table, and that was the final straw for Victoria. She stepped closer, her voice loud enough for the surrounding guests to hear. "You think you can talk to me like that in my event? Maybe you need a reminder of who you are." Before Maya could react, Victoria's manicured hand reached out. RRRPP. Gasps filled the ballroom. The delicate fabric of Maya's dress tore from the shoulder, a violent sound cutting through the music. For a moment, time froze. Glasses stopped clinking. The pianist's hands hovered above the key. Victoria dropped the torn piece onto the floor like trash. "There. Now, maybe you'll remember your place." Maya didn't flinch, didn't cry. Her voice came out low and cold. "You just made the worst mistake of your life." "Victoria, what the hell did you just do?" A deep, commanding voice boomed from across the room. Everyone turned. Alexander Langford, Victoria's husband, and the billionaire everyone was there to impress, stood motionless, his eyes fixed on his wife. Victoria blinked, her face draining of color. Alex, she was being rude. He cut her off. "She's my wife." A collective gasp rippled across the room. Maya met his eyes. There was pain there and pride. She had kept their marriage private, wanted to earn her place on her own merit. Tonight, that choice had come full circle. Victoria's lips trembled. "You married her?" "Yes," Alexander said, stepping beside Maya, his presence radiating authority. "And tonight, you just assaulted the woman who owns half of this foundation." The silence was deafening. Victoria's mouth opened, but no words came. Her world, her status, her power crumbled in seconds. Alexander turned to the stunned crowd. "This event was meant to honor generosity and equality, but I see some of you only know generosity when it benefits you." He paused, his tone like ice. Everyone out, chairs scraped back. No one argued. Within a minute, the ballroom emptied, leaving only the three of them amid scattered glasses and whispers that would spread across the city by morning. Victoria's voice cracked. "You humiliated me over her?" Alexander's gaze hardened. "No, you did that to yourself." He looked at Maya's torn gown, then placed his jacket around her shoulders with quiet care. "I've watched men mock me for years, thinking I didn't deserve success. But seeing someone tear down my wife for her color," he exhaled, "that I won't tolerate." Victoria's hands shook. "You can't mean this. She's nothing like us." Maya's voice was calm, steady as steel. "You're right. I'm nothing like you. I don't hide my cruelty behind manner." With that, she turned and walked toward the grand exit, her torn dress flowing behind her like a flag of defiance. The lights of the ballroom gleamed against the marble floor as whispers followed her, half in shock, half in admiration. Behind her, Alexander's voice echoed one last time. "Maya Johnson Langford built everything you're standing on, Victoria. And tonight, you just tore apart your own empire. You planned this, didn't you?" Maya stopped midway down the marble corridor. Her reflection trembled faintly in the glass wall beside her, the torn edge of her gown still fluttering as the heavy ballroom doors closed behind them. She didn't turn around. "Planned what?" Alexander's voice was low, steady, but dangerous, like a storm waiting to break. "The reveal, the whole night. You could have stopped her the second she opened her mouth, Maya, but you let her humiliate you in front of everyone." Maya finally turned to face him. "You think I let her?" He met her gaze, and for the first time, she saw confusion there. He wasn't angry at her. He was angry because he didn't understand. Maya took a slow breath. Sometimes, Alexander, people like Victoria don't learn from words. They only learn from exposure. He stared at her for a long moment. You knew she'd lash out. I knew she'd reveal herself, Maya said quietly. That's what tonight was about. Not just your charity, but truth. You wanted to show them what power really looks like? Well, I did too. Alexander rubbed his temple, exhaling. Maya, I didn't bring you here to make enemies. I brought you here to stand beside me. And I did, she interrupted softly. Even when it meant standing alone. The silence between them stretched heavy. Outside the hall's wide windows, the city shimmered. Golden towers reflected in the river below. The night looked peaceful, but inside Maya's chest, chaos swirled. She had endured stares, whispers, and unspoken judgments from every guest since the moment she'd walked in. Tonight wasn't new. It was just the final chapter of a humiliation she'd been living for years. She turned away, voice trembling only slightly. Do you know what it feels like to have people see you and decide you don't belong? Before you even open your mouth? Before you even breathe? Alexander's expression softened. No, Alec, she said bitterly. You don't. You built this empire. But I carried it with you, and all they ever saw was your charity project. That's not true, he said quickly. She faced him again. Isn't it? You saw their faces tonight. Half the board whispered when I arrived. You heard them laughing when I reached for my seat. He didn't deny it. He couldn't. Maya shook her head. I didn't fight back. I did it for the next woman who walks into that ballroom and doesn't have to hear the word staff used like an insult. Her words hung in the air, sharp, clear, and honest. Alexander stepped closer, lowering his voice. Then we make sure that happens. But I need you to tell me something, Maya. When you looked Victoria in the eyes before she tore your dress, why did it seem like you knew her? Maya froze. Her eyes flickered, not with fear, but with memory. I did, she said finally, a long time ago. The revelation hit him like a punch. What? She wasn't always Victoria Langford, the philanthropist's wife. Maya's tone was distant, almost hollow. Back when I was 18, I worked at a small catering company. My boss was a woman named Victoria Hensley, cold, vicious, and obsessed with class. She used to call me the girl from nowhere. One night, she fired me in front of an entire staff because I spilled water on a guest's shoe. Alexander blinked. You're saying that Victoria is the same woman who ripped my dress tonight, Maya finished. Different last name, same soul. The truth hung heavy between them. Maya's hands trembled as she smoothed her torn sleeve. When I saw her name on the donor list for tonight's gala, I almost didn't come. But then I thought, no, maybe it's time someone like her saw that the girl from nowhere didn't just survive. She rose higher than she ever could. Alexander's jaw tightened. You could have told me. And what would that change? Maya asked. You can't fight ghosts for me, Alec. I had to face her myself. He stepped closer, his voice softer now. You've always fought alone, haven't you? She smiled faintly, eyes glistening. It's what the world teaches girls like me. For a moment, the silence turned tender, but before either could speak again, footsteps echoed behind them. Sharp, hurried, panicked. It was Victoria. Her makeup smudged, her hair undone, her arrogance gone. She clutched the phone to her chest, trembling. Alexander, please, listen. You don't understand. He turned, icy calm. What more could there possibly be to understand, Victoria? Tears streaked her face. It's not about her. It's about you. Maya frowned. What are you talking about? Victoria's voice cracked. The press. Someone tipped them off. They know everything about your marriage, the shares, even your private account. They're saying you've been funneling money to offshore projects under Maya's name. Alexander's expression darkened instantly. That's impossible. Maya blinked, stunned. Wait, what? Victoria held up the phone, showing a news alert flashing with headline. Lang for Empire under investigation. New CEO's wife linked to secret transaction. The world seemed to tilt. Maya's pulse pounded in her ear. That's not true. I know. Alexander cut in, his jaw set. Someone's framing us, Victoria whispered, trembling. It started spreading 20 minutes ago. Everyone's talking about it. The investors are pulling out. Alex, they're freezing your account. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. Oh my God. She turned toward Alexander, but his expression had already shifted. Calm, composed, but his eyes were burning. He took her hand. We're leaving. Now. Where? Somewhere quiet, said. Because whoever did this wasn't just trying to ruin me. They want to destroy you. They rushed toward the private elevator at the end of the corridor. The chatter of guests echoed distantly, gossip spreading like wildfire through the marble halls. As the elevator doors closed, Maya's Maya's reflection shimmered faintly in the metal. The torn dress, the fear, the strength. She exhaled slowly. Alexander spoke without looking at her. You said you worked for Victoria years ago. Did you ever see her around anyone from the corporate world? Maya frowned. There was one man, a consultant. He used to visit her office. Said he worked for one of the major banks. He had a scar near his temple. Alexander's eyes narrowed. That's Edward Hensley, her ex-husband. He was fired from my company 8 years ago for embezzlement. Maya's stomach dropped. You think he's behind this? I don't think, Alexander said grimly. I know, and if he's working with Victoria again, we're not just dealing with humiliation anymore. We're dealing with sabotage. The elevator chimed softly as it reached the rooftop, the night air cool and sharp against their faces. Below them, the city pulsed with light. Maya turned toward him. What do we do now? Alexander stared into the skyline, his expression turning to steel. We find out who's behind it. And this time, Maya, we fight back. She nodded slowly. The fear in her eyes hardened into resolve. Then let's start tonight. You sure this is safe? Maya's voice trembled slightly as the helicopter blades thundered overhead, sending her torn gown fluttering around her leg. She squinted through the wind as Alexander unlocked a heavy steel door leading from the rooftop helipad into his private executive suite, a sanctuary perched above the city skyline. Alexander didn't answer. His jaw was tight, his eyes burning with the quiet rage of a man who just had his empire attacked. Inside, the suite was dimly lit, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the storm clouds rolling over the skyline. He pressed a code into a glass panel, sealing the doors. Now it's safe, he said finally. Nobody can listen in here. Maya took a slow breath. You think Victoria and her ex-husband did this? Alexander turned to face her, voice low and sharp. Not just them. They had help. Someone inside my company. She frowned. Inside, he nodded, pacing toward the sleek digital display on the wall. He flicked it on and files appeared. Offshore transactions, forged signatures, and news articles spinning the scandal. Each one linked to her name. Maya stared, her chest tightened. They made it look like I was laundering your money. Yes, Alexander said darkly. And whoever did this knew your past. Every detail. Her breath hitched. My past. He turned. Your old name, your work history, your connection to Victoria. All of it. Maya's eyes widened. But how would they? A voice interrupted from behind. Because you told me everything, remember? They froze. Standing in the doorway was Elena, Alexander's personal assistant, the same woman who had smiled sweetly during the gala, the one who had offered to fix Maya's dress after tour. Now, her smile was gone, replaced by cold satisfaction. Elena, Alexander said, voice razor sharp. How did you get in here? She lifted a small key card. You gave me access, remember? I'm your trusted assistant. Maya's pulse pounded. You're behind this? Elena shrugged. Not alone, but I did deliver what they wanted. Your files, your past, your connection. It wasn't hard. You told me everything that night after your charity event, when you said you wanted to inspire trust. Maya's jaw clenched. You listened just to use it against me. Elena smirked. You have no idea, sweetheart. You were never the target. He was. She nodded toward Alexander. You were just a weapon. Why? Alexander demanded. Elena stepped forward, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Because you destroyed people, Alexander. You cut staff, closed apartment, fired me 2 years ago when you merged Whitmore Tech with your empire. But I came back under new name. And when I saw her with you, she glared at Maya. I realized I could take both of you down with one move. Maya's voice was calm but icy. And Victoria helped you. Oh, Victoria didn't help me, Elena said with a bitter laugh. She funded me. Her ex-husband handled the digital side. I handled the rest. Alexander's tone dropped to a dangerous whisper. You'll go to prison for this. Elena smiled faintly. You still don't get it. The story's already out there. The world believes it. You can't erase the internet. Maybe not, Maya said quietly, stepping forward. But we can rewrite it. Elena's smirk faltered. What? Maya reached into her torn dress pocket and pulled out a small silver device, a voice recorder. She clicked play. Elena's own voice echoed through the suite. She'll never see it coming. We'll leak it through Victoria's contacts. Make it look like she's a thief. Alexander will crumble, try and protect her. Elena's face drained of color. You recorded during the gala, Maya said softly. You really shouldn't whisper near someone who spent years cleaning rooms filled with secrets. Alexander took a step closer, his voice deadly calm. It's over, Elena. But she wasn't finished. Her hand darted toward her coat pocket. Don't move. Alexander barked, pulling Maya behind him. Elena froze, then slowly lifted her hand, revealing a flash drive. This, she said, waving it, is the rest of your truth, Alexander. Every off-the-book deal you made to keep your empire afloat. The charity laundering, the investor bribes, all of it. You think you're innocent? You're not. Maya looked at him, shocked. Alex, what is she talking about? He hesitated. Just a second, but it was enough. Elena laughed. Ah, there it is. The hesitation. The look. He never told you, did he? Alexander's eyes flashed. She's lying. Am I? Elena sneered. Ask him where he got the money to rebuild his company after the stock crashed 3 years ago. Ask him whose offshore accounts he used, the ones under your name. Maya felt her stomach twist. What? Elena grinned. Oh, yes, darling. He used you long before you walked into that gala. Stop it, Alexander said sharply. Enough of your lies. But Maya was already stepping back, shaking her head. Alex, please tell me she's lying. He met her eyes, and the silence that followed was louder than any thunder. I did what I had to do, he said finally. Back then, the company was collapsing. Investors were pulling out. Thousands of jobs were on the line. I needed clean account. You were working with me as a consultant, and her voice broke. You used my name? I was going to fix it later. Later? She snapped. You made me your shield. Alexander, you used the same system people like Victoria used to destroy women like me. His face fell. Maya, I swear I was protecting us. I didn't want you dragged into that world, but you dragged me there anyway. The recorder still hummed softly between them. Elena's laughter cut through the silence. Oh, this is beautiful. The power couple breaks itself apart. My job's done. Maya turned to Elena, fury in her eyes. No, you're not walking away from this. She snatched the flash drive from Elena's hand, then hurled across the floor, straight into the small digital fireplace. It melted instantly, a hiss of plastic and smoke. No, Elena screamed, lunging forward. But Alexander grabbed her, pinning her arm. He pressed his phone to his ear. Security, top floor now. Elena thrashed, then stopped struggling. Her smile returned, eerie and calm. Doesn't matter, she whispered. The story's already live. You can't undo what's been done. Maya looked at her, eyes fierce. You're wrong, because people may believe lies for a moment, but they remember the truth forever. Security burst in. Elena was dragged out, still laughing. The silence that followed was unbearable. Maya turned toward the window, arms wrapped around herself. Below, camera flashes began popping. Journalists already gathering outside the building. Alexander stood behind her, silent, guilt carved into every line of his face. Maya, I never meant to hurt you. She didn't turn around. But you did. He swallowed hard. Tell me what I can do to fix this. She faced him then, her eyes full of both love and devastation. Tell the truth. The next morning, the world watched a live broadcast. Alexander Morgan, CEO of Whitmore Global, stood before a wall of reporters and flashing cameras. His voice was calm, steady, and stripped of the arrogance that once defined him. The accusations are true. I used offshore account. I broke the rule. But the woman you blamed, the woman you mocked, she's the one who saved me from becoming someone I never wanted to be. Reporters erupted in noise. Alexander continued, eyes glistening. Her name is Maya, and she's not just my wife. She's the conscience I lost chasing power. You call her a waitress, but she's the reason I'm standing here free today. The press captured every word, every tear. And somewhere backstage, Maya watched, silent, strong, and radiant. Weeks later, Victoria Langford and Edward Hensley were arrested on charges of fraud and extortion. Elena's confession recordings sealed their fate. The company was rebuilt under new leadership, Maya's. The first project she launched was a scholarship fund for women of color in corporate leadership. She called it the Nowhere Girl Initiative. On the night of the first award ceremony, Alexander appeared quietly, waiting by the side stage. She approached hesitant. I didn't expect you here, she said softly. He smiled faintly. You built something on it. I wanted to see it. They stood in silence for a long moment, the city lights reflecting off the tears they didn't hide. Finally, Maya whispered, you once told me power reveals who we are. I think now it just gives us a chance to choose. Alexander nodded slowly. Then choose, Maya. And whatever you choose, I'll respect it. She looked out at the stage, where young women waited for their names to be called. Her voice trembled, but it was full of peace. I already have.